They had voted for independence on July 2nd, 1776, and then on July 4th approved the document and ordered it immediately printed by John Dunlap in Philadelphia. And this is one of those copies.
This must be one of the prizes of your collection.
Absolutely.
Now owned by the Maine Historical Society and the centerpiece of its exhibit on the 250th birthday of America.
They ordered, we think, about 200 copies. No one knows for sure quite how many.
Tiffany Link is curator of the exhibit.
And the sole purpose of that was for them to be sent throughout the colonies so that they would be the first official announcement people received of Congress declaring independence.
The colonies that this document says are and have right ought to be free and independent
states.
That's right,
yes, states after this point, all of them.
This copy was donated to the Historical Society when it began in 1905. It's now believed to be one of just 26 that still exist.
And kind of think about it traveling up and down the East Coast as people are learning about it, not from a newspaper and not from a TV screen or not from a radio broadcast, but they're gathering in small groups. They're seeing it posted in the town square. It's being read to them.
The Dunlap copy was read to people in Boston, but leaders of that colony decided the whole state needed to hear the Declaration.
We're 2 floors underground behind lots and lots of locked doors with very secure badge access only.
So here at the Maine State Archives,
there it is.
All right. An original copy of the Declaration of Independence.
State archivist Christian Kotz and Heather Moran showed us their 2 copies of the Russell broadside version of the Declaration, printed in Salem, Massachusetts, in that same month, July 1776.
And then, but these were made to be sort of the social media of the day. Yeah. Get the news out fast and cheap and get it as far flung as possible. Yeah. And so they printed several hundred of these. Mm-hmm. This one went to North Yarmouth, this one went to Hallowell. And so, we can imagine that there were dozens of others that went to Maine, but just don't exist anymore.
These documents are now carefully protected, but are available on the archive's public database online for all to read. And that was the goal of Massachusetts printing these Russell copies.
Ordered that the Declaration of Independence be printed and a copy sent to the ministers of each parish.
Sent, the instructions read, to every minister in the state.
And that they severally be required to read the same to their respective congregations as soon as divine service is ended in the afternoon on the first Lord's Day after they shall have received it.
And what did declaring independence mean for all those hearing or eventually reading the Declaration?
It must have been unsettling because this is a huge upheaval that is headed their way.
By July 1776, Massachusetts had already been fighting the British for more than a year. Bunker Hill, Arnold's March, the burning of Falmouth.
In some ways, especially, the Declaration mentions the 24th grievance out of the 27 things that it says the king has done wrong. It plainly says that he's burned our towns, and that's a direct reference to Captain Mowat burning Falmouth a year before.
The version of the Declaration we're most familiar with, the one with all the names signed on it, wasn't actually signed by the Congress until more than a month later. But it was the action of the Continental Congress, voted that July 4th, then copied and sent to the states, that framed and explained the revolution to come. And these copies that first spread the word, luckily, are still here 2.5 centuries later, reminders to us of how it all began.